Hello from Barcelona, Spain. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And every Sunday, I sit down in front of my red sofa at home and talk about some travel-related situation in addition to all the travel vlogs that I post on this channel. And this is going to be a Sunday sofa time on tour because obviously I'm not at home and there is no red sofa behind me. As I mentioned, I'm in Barcelona right now and I'm actually going to try another thing that I don't do very often, and that is do this video in one take with no editing because I don't really have the time to edit it and I want to get it online and get out and enjoy some of the beautiful city of Barcelona. What I want to tell you about is my travel day today, and that I had some very pleasant surprises. So I live in Hamburg, Germany, and before I forget, by the way, the reason I'm in Barcelona is because tomorrow I'm boarding a gigantic cruise ship called the Costa Smeralda. It is one of the biggest cruise ships in the world, and it's only the second time that I'm going to be cruising with Costa, which is the Italian, like the Italian version, the Italian brand of Carnival. So if you want to learn about that and see what that experience was like, if you want like up-to-the-minute updates, then look for the very unofficial travel guides on Facebook or look for Mr. Morgan O'Brien on Instagram. And also make sure you're subscribed here because then when the videos start going online of the actual ship and the adventure I'm about to take, you will be able to, you will get an update when those go online. So the surprises that I had today. First of all, when I got to the airport in Hamburg, Germany, it was crazy crowded. It reminded me of one of my first trips after travel started opening up again after COVID. It is summer vacation here in Europe, also in Hamburg and in Amsterdam, and I'm assuming also in Barcelona. So there are a lot of people traveling. There were crazy lines everywhere. Most people were in good moods, but when I showed up to the check-in counter to drop off my bag, it was a huge line. I can't show you a picture now because, like I said, try not to edit this. But there was a huge line, and there were two people working the check-in. One person was just doing the priority lane, which I don't think was not really taking much less time than the normal lane. But the normal lane, there were so many people waiting in line, and there was literally one person checking them in. And I was thinking, this is going to be a nightmare. I got to the airport 2 hours early, like I always do for flights that are like inside of Europe or a flight that would be like inside of the USA. I think 2 hours early is a good time to get there. There's no reason to not get there early. It's only going to save you time, or it's only going to save you stress by getting there earlier rather than later. And usually 2 hours is fine, but I got a little bit worried because I saw that line and I looked up to the front and saw that there was one person checking in all these people. And I thought, okay, if there's also, like I'm assuming it's going to be, a huge line at security, then I might not make this flight. But the first pleasant surprise that I experienced was, even though this woman was working alone, I think I waited 25 minutes, and I wish I could show you how crazy this line was. And she was like, bam, 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 bam. She was friendly to everybody. She was efficient, but she got everybody checked in like, I don't even know how many people were in front of me, but it was a lot. And it only took 25 minutes from the time I got into the line until I was up at the counter and giving her my bag. So that was a very pleasant surprise, and I guess the reason that, I wanted to put that in this video and talk about it with you and also say it out loud for me is just to remind myself that, that can happen too. Sometimes you get to the airport, there's a huge line, and it does take forever. Sometimes you get to the airport, there's a huge line, and it kind of goes okay, you know? All right, next pleasant surprise was there was almost no line at security, which blows my mind because in the area of the airport where you check in and give up your bags, there were so many people. And I've experienced it like totally swapped around in the past in the Hamburg airport that I've gotten to the airport and thought, okay, it's kind of chill here today. But then the security area is a madhouse. And today, it was like exactly the opposite. It was totally the other way around. I don't know why that was. Maybe the people working, like a lot of people who worked on check-in called in sick, and then a lot of people who worked in security came to work today. I don't know, but I got through security super quick. And then, like, I had plenty of time, so I even had breakfast in the Hamburg airport. Little word of advice, if you're looking to travel through Europe and making some connections, Hamburg airport is not a fun airport to hang out in because there's just not a lot happening there. When I was in Minnesota just a couple weeks ago visiting my family, the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, it's like being in a mall. There's so much to look at and see, and so many shopping venues and cool restaurants, like sit-down table restaurants, and also like quick service restaurants. Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, if you have to be in an airport for an hour or 2 hours, that's a good one. Hamburg airport, not. Boring. Okay, the next and final pleasant surprise I want to talk about in this short Sunday SofaTime on Tour video is when I got onto the flight. So I flew from Hamburg to Amsterdam, then from Amsterdam to Barcelona. There are direct flights from Hamburg to Barcelona, but they were more expensive, so I went with the cheaper ones. And when I got onto the flight, it was the plane was like 2 seats and 2 seats, and then the aisle in the middle. And I was sitting next to a mom, probably about 10 years, well, let's be honest, Morgan, she's probably about 15 years younger than me. And she had 2 little kids. I'm going to say they were probably 4 and maybe 7, maybe 9. They were young kids. Especially the boy was like a little bit older than a toddler, I would say. And I talked about this in a YouTube short that I posted from the Amsterdam airport, but a lot of times when I am traveling, especially on like longer flights and on train rides and stuff, I do a lot of train travel around Europe. A lot of times I see parents sort of like involved with themselves while they're flying, and they expect the kids to sort of entertain themselves, and they just seem to not really be prepared for, what the kids are going to be like stuck in this plane for however, an international flight can be 9 hours. This was a very short flight, but when I sat down, I just felt that the energy between the mom and these 2 kids, I realized these kids are nervous. The mom knows they're nervous flyers. She was doing, I think, breathing exercises with them when I sat down. And I thought, okay, this is going to be one of those flights where I have 2 screaming kids next to me the whole flight. And I've had that before. It is what it is. Kids go through things differently than adults, and I wasn't like getting prepared to like freak out or anything. I just thought, all right, it's going to be one of those flights. However, this mom was so well prepared. By the way, before we took off, I even offered her, I said, if there's some way that you want to switch here, so one of the kids is sitting here and like the other one over there, whatever, let me know. I have no problem going either way. And she's like, no, I think this is the best setup. But she was so well prepared. She was constantly talking with the kids. She had so many things in her bag. She had snacks, she had like activities, she had like arts and crafts to put together, she had games, and as a last minute resort, they also both had iPads and headphones to put on. And this mom was so occupied with keeping the kids preoccupied that I don't think they hardly even noticed that we were in a plane anymore, although they were obviously very nervous before we took off. And I just want to say, to the mom sitting next to me in row 20 on that flight, good job. Thank you so much. And I also want to say she's probably going to be so exhausted when they get to wherever they're going. I think she said that they had one more flight to someplace in France. So also another short flight, but just her energy level with keeping these like worried kids occupied. She was so into it and so involved that whenever they get to where they're going, she's going to be exhausted. But anyways, 10 points for this mom and any parents who travel this way. Yeah, kids should be prepared, and kids of a certain age, you can expect them to act a certain way in certain situations, but you kind of just never know when it comes to kids. And so I think it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared, because if your kids have a meltdown, which I know can always happen even if you are well-prepared, but if your kids do have a meltdown, remember what that situation is going to be like, and not everybody who's sitting around is going to be like as nice and patient and understanding as maybe I would be. I can think of some people I know who definitely aren't in that situation. But yeah, I just was really happy for this mom that she was like present in that situation and was prepared, and seemed like everything went great. All right, those are my pleasant surprises today. If you've ever been in a situation when you were traveling where when it like first came upon you, you thought, oh crap, and then it turned out to be not bad at all, or maybe even pleasantly better than you were expecting it to be, let's talk about that in the comments below. I love reading you guys' comments of your experiences while traveling around the world. And I am going to, do a little bit of unpacking. It's so hot here. Oh my gosh, it's so hot here. And I'm going to use a phrase that I heard a lot growing up in Minnesota, and that is, it's not just the heat, it's the humidity. So it's probably only in the 80s, but it's so humid that I feel like, why even bother styling my hair? Why even bother taking a shower? As soon as I go outside, I'm going to be drenched in sweat again anyways. But I'm going to go out and try to find some fantastic place to eat. I have been to Barcelona several times, but I wonder, is this the first time that I'm going to go out to dinner alone? Because I feel like I've always been here with Marcus, and then the one time I came without Marcus, I went out with a friend from college who lives close by. So I wonder if this is the first time I've been here alone. Anyways, the significance of that is I'm going to go to a vegetarian Spanish restaurant. So if you want to see what that's like I said, go check out Facebook, Very Unofficial Travel Guides, or Mr. Morgan O'Brien at Instagram. Thank you for hanging out with me on this part of your Sunday, or whatever day it is you watched this. I made it through pretty good, huh? Without too many ums, ahs. I didn't have to sneeze or blow my nose. Not bad. All right. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow from the Costa Smeralda.